afternoon, everyone. It's Master Jose Torres with the Martial Arts Experience, Wednesday, October 12th. I'm excited to be here today, guys. Today is probably going to be one of our best shows. I have an amazing martial artist, legend, and also a good friend of mine. You know, we've known each other for a long time. So without further ado, I'm going to bring him right in. He is the world famous Datu Tim Hartman. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, Master Torres. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Just for all of our viewers, you know, we've known each other for what is it, almost 20 years, Tim?
It's close to 20 years. Yeah, right around there.
You know, and I've been blessed to have a lot of guests on the show, but and a lot of them, you know, obviously associates and friends at this, but to have the relationship that me and Tim, I mean, you know, his big dogs used to attack my son when he was, I think it was 6, Tim, and now Ryan is 23.
Yeah, and he still talks about the dogs.
He does. You know, but hey, Tim, I got to tell you, I got 2 dogs of my own. I got 2 Alaskan Malamutes, big guys.
Nice.
Yeah. That all started with you 20 years ago.
Yeah, blame me for that. Okay.
So to all of our viewers, today's, you know, special guest, Tim's the man. He is, if you want to know anything about Filipino martial arts, all the different styles, I'm not even going to pretend that I know anything. I might know 1 or 2 things, but I know nothing of this man. Tim, tell us, most important, how long have you been practicing Filipino martial arts?
1985.
Wow. What was the first Filipino martial arts style system you were exposed to?
Modern Arnis, Remy Praces. It was actually, okay, so I started my martial, if you want to start my martial career, it really started in wrestling in school. So we always had a ground element. We used to backyard box, and I had a bunch of friends in high school that did martial arts, and we all worked together. But first formal training of an Asian martial art would be Modern Arnis, and it was at a full-time school, full-time Modern Arnis school.
Now, that is not a normal art that everybody has access to. So tell us, you know, how did that come about? Because, you know, in 1985, I would say more Japanese or the Korean arts were in its heyday. So how did you come to find Modern Arnis?
So an acquaintance of mine, I had decided that I'm going to get formal training. This backyard nonsense and self-training had to go. But you do what you can based on what you had access. And this was, for those who don't know about this, back then, there was no YouTube. There was no internet. It was dial-up telephones. MTV used to play music. And, you know, when we did stuff, like if you bought a martial art video back in the 80s, they were $50.
Yeah.
And that's time when you're making $3 an hour, which means that was huge bank. Yeah. So I had decided this is it. I'm going to do martial arts. And I was checking, unlike most people, because I was doing this on my dime as a teenager, I went and checked all these schools out because I wanted to find the place that best fit me. Most people, it's just whatever's around the corner, that's what they sign up for, and that's what they get. Their parents sign them up or whatever. And then later they might find a different system because they first trained out of convenience. Well, I wasn't going to do that. And I had my backup plan of Bill Adams Martial Arts, which he was very instrumental in my future. But he had a karate school, 2 locations, one right around the corner from my house. He used to have seminars from all these different styles coming in, Wally J, Joe Lewis, Eric Lee, all these guys would come through. So I'm like, okay, this is an open-minded kind of guy. That's the place I want to be in as my backup. I'm going to start in the new year. And then all of a sudden, a friend of mine just reached out and said, hey, you got to check this place out. It's really cool. That's all I got. I'm like, okay. So I drove out. It was the Filipino Karate Academy, run by John Bryan, who's in one of Remy, is in the 5th or 6th edition or volume of Remy's first video series. And I walked in, they put a stick in my hand, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done. It was it. And then, you know, a couple months later, I tested for my yellow belt, and in front of all the Modern Arnis black belts in Buffalo and the Grandmaster himself. So Buffalo, I was very fortunate. Buffalo, Remy taught it 2 ways. A standalone program and the art within your art. Most people did it the art within your art. Per capita, no city in the States had more Modern Arnis in it than Buffalo. we had 11 training groups going on at the same time.
Wow.
And you've been to Buffalo. It's not, I mean, if we're talking the Metro Buffalo area, it's 1 million. That's not a big,
Right.
Buffalo proper at the time was like 280, 300,000. But we had that many different Modern East programs because Remy was on fire. He came to Buffalo a lot. Hell, he had a girlfriend here, so he visited a lot. And, and I would benefit because when he'd be here, he'd go and do seminars at all the different schools, and I would go school to school to be his assistant and didn't have to pay.
Right.
And I got lucky. I mean, it was just dumb luck. I found the art that spoke to me right out of the box.
Right.
And I've been doing it. Like I said, I've been doing it since '85, and I'm still doing the same art. And I've looked into other aspects of that art as I silence my phone so we don't get interrupted.
Right.
So I continue Filipino martial arts. I do other systems because a professor pulled from a lot of different things.
Right.
And so, but it's all about looking at my roots, not trying to get away from what I did.
Right. Now explain to the viewers. So, there's so many different Filipino arts, and people say, oh, I study, Eskrima, or I study Kali, modern.
Okay, wait a minute. Stop right there. Stop right there. All right, I'm going to call bullshit on that Kali stuff.
Okay.
Kali is not the mother art. It is not a word in the Filipino language.
Ah, I did not know that.
It is not a word in the Filipino language.
So, Tim, are you telling me all these guys that proclaim that they, they're studying Kali or they have a master rank in Kali, you're telling me they're BSing?
What I'm saying is they were either miseducated or they're buying into the bullshit. Kali does not exist. Matter of fact, I just saw a thing in Black Belt Magazine, and they talk about two of the people who are big advocates of it, Leo Gahe and Danny Inosanto,
right,
talk about this. And they're saying as they are world-class martial artists, but they are not historians. Kali is not in the Filipino language. But someone said, well, listen, Kalis, it comes from Kalis, the sword. No, it doesn't. Kali is the Indonesian goddess of death. Now, what happened? I want to
educate us, Tim. Speak.
I'm a martial arts snob. I love all martial arts. And Jose, you can call bullshit on me right now. When there's martial arts seminars, do you not see me participating, even if it's an art that I don't do?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have my favorites, but not only martial arts is my profession, but it's also my passion and hobby. I do all martial arts. Anytime I get exposure to something, because a lot of times I will learn, you and I have been on the floor. I've watched you say something and do something that spoke to me. And it was like, I've never heard it that way. That's really good. I still attend seminars. I was on tour in Europe, in Italy, and I made time all morning. I'm teaching in Rome on one weekend. All morning, the CELAC guys teaching the weekend prior. We drove down or took a train down. I trained with him because, you know what? I had a free day and Mall rocks, and I want to further my education,
right,
and I went back and I'm on tour teaching. I make a point of getting training opportunities for me. So just so we're on this. So Remy Praces was one of the most instrumental people in keeping Filipino martial arts alive. Fact, not fiction. He was a goodwill ambassador for the Philippines with diplomatic papers sponsored to go around the world to train and teach Filipino martial arts. And then he started making a living at it. And all the Filipinos learned something. We can make money doing this. Right. Now, he created the art in 1957. I'm going to get there. In 1957, his wife said, because it's actually the first book, is The Practical Art of Eskrima. Oh, wait, hold on one second. My bookshelf's right here. Hold on.
All right.
I'm going to keep talking. Can you hear me?
I got you. Go ahead, Tim.
All right. So, okay. So this is the book from O'Hara you may have seen before. Oh, I'm there. You know what? Yep. Okay, hold on. Oh, you know what? I am packing for my next trip.
Okay.
So that means my background. Oh, actually, I get it to my camera. I'm going to get virtual background. I'm going to take this off because then you get to see the mess.
It looks
good. For an office, there's all my stick bags for the trip. So this is the book that most of us are familiar with. It was done by O'Hara Publications, which is no longer around.
Right.
This is what we call the yellow book. This is the third book. There's the pink book, which I didn't have. It's over there. I'm not going to grab it. But the first book was The Practical Art of Eskrima. That's the first book, the white book. Okay. Then his wife said, you should use the word our niece. Why? Because no one else is using it. It was a marketing thing. So now we take, what do we make different? Oh, you know what? Somebody mistranslated the word Kalis to Kali. And then the Filipinos said, hey, we can make money off of this. So let's go. So we have Kali Illustrissimo. Okay. As it was told to me, which I could have wrong. So it's secondhand information. Tateng Illustrissimo. It was Arnis, Lightning. Wait, no, Kali Illustrissimo. So the Arnis Illustrissimo. Because when they play, they don't say, let's play Kali, let's play Arnis. And that just means like that little free semi-sparring type thing. But they were told by, as I was told by Tuangahe, great Grand Tuangahe, that, hey, listen, it makes us different. We can make more money off this. It was a marketing thing. So unfortunately, when it comes to Kali, it's not even in the Filipino language.
Wow.
Now, yeah. So I'm not. So when people say it's the mother art, see that if they want to go rebranding, I'm all about that. All about it, because each region they call it Arnis or Eskrima. It's like saying martial arts.
Right.
Okay. Remy called it modern Arnis because it was a modern approach. You would also go AKA Filipino karate, because karate after World War II was more popular than Filipino martial arts because they were getting hurt doing, which means it makes no sense. You just fight the Japanese and then now you're doing their art.
Right.
Just like the last time I was in Germany teaching, I realized there's a lot of Krav Maga schools, Israeli systems from Jewish people. Something doesn't seem right there, but what I hate, I notice different things, So, but the thing here is, back in the day, you did stick on hand training.
Okay.
Remy modernized it. After one of the arts he did, Balintawak, because of its close range, he realized he could do stick on stick and people can train all the time. So that's why he did that name, which sold great in the Philippines because it was an English term. We like foreign stuff.
Right.
So it's modern Arnis.
So modern Arnis, you're saying, was founded in 1957.
That's when he first officially did it. But originally it was a form of, it's Eskrima.
Gotcha.
And his brothers were 10 and 11. So when they say the brothers helped found the system, no, but they helped develop the system as they grew up.
Right.
Remy was 10 to 11 years their senior. When he created, when you do the dates, it makes no sense. There were no co-founders of modern Arnis. Remy created the art. He started the art. Now, modern Arnis wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't for the Praces family. What the Praces brothers are to Filipino martial arts is the equivalent of what the Gracie brothers are to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Gotcha. I
said it time and time again, and I've had nothing but good response from that comment. Now, there's plenty of people in the world that have helped contribute to Filipino martial arts moving forward, but this is the impact that the Praces family had. But it's creator of modern Arnis, Remy Praces. Gotcha. And he rebranded to make himself different, just like these Kali people, but Kali is not in the Filipino language.
Gotcha.
So I'm not. A lot of people are misinformed and they're mistold. If your teachers said that you were doing, so you do Tang Sudo and Taekwondo, right?
Yes, sir.
What'd you start in?
Tang Sudo.
Did you know that?
What do you mean?
Did you know it was Tang Sudo at the time?
Oh no, it was karate.
There we go. So I mean, my Arnis school has a karate sign because no one knows what Arnis is, but they know what they're looking into.
Correct.
But I have a Kempo guy that came to me. He was told he was doing Parker's Kempo, and it turns out it wasn't even close to that. So he was missold stuff.
Right.
So I don't blame someone for not knowing what they're talking about because they may have trusted somebody who betrayed that, or they themselves may not have been educated enough to understand.
Right.
And sometimes things are lost in translation. If I sat there and said, so Dumag is Filipino wrestling, an interview that was done with professors, someone say, isn't it true that Dumag comes from Sambo? And Remy's response was, yes, Sambo is like Dumag. Those are two different statements.
Right.
One, Sambo is like Dumag. It was never that Dumag came from Sambo.
Right.
So, but people hear what they want to hear.
Now, Tim, you were really blessed because you just weren't a student. You were family. And if it's okay, I'd like you to talk about that because I'm going to put this picture up. Most people don't have this type of relationship with their instructor. And I never did this with my first instructor. So talk about that, Tim, because again, you didn't just pay a fee to teach with him. You were like, talk about it a little bit because that's also over the years, right? Kind of created some drama for you, right? Because you're the guy, you're the man. I tease you all the time that when I grow up, I want to be like you. But Tim, talk about your relationship with Professor. I know you've talked about it before, but let the viewers know that maybe don't know about that.
We were drunk in that photo. That's what. No, actually, that was at the end of a seminar in Michigan. Actually, vividly remember it was the last seminar was with him in Michigan. It was over at Paul John's in Rochester Hills. Hosted that. It was before the last full Michigan camp that he taught at. So I studied with John Bryant. That's how I started.
Right.
I was there for a little. So I went to my first instructor's camp. Now, in Modern Nice, Professor, like a lot of other people, like back in the day, you can go to a training camp in BJJ and becoming an apprentice instructor. You get your blue belt from one weekend. Now it takes years because they up the level.
Right.
Remy was doing that before the Brazilians ever got here. So I went to my first instructor's camp. The instructors it's usually designed for a black belt in another martial system. I got my blue belt and it got my basic instructorship. Well, this person who ran the school put me in a teaching role right away. So with very little experience, I was teaching, but I had a knack to. He loved the fact I was helping him before that in the kids class, and I had a very good relationship with the children. I can clown with them. I didn't take myself too serious, and then I was one of the better people because I trained an hour and a half every day before I went to the school on my own, and then I'd go and train at night and do the same thing. So. But by no means, like today, we'd call bullshit on this. It was just, I shouldn't have been teaching back then. But Remy put people in teaching in the early sense. So about a year after that, John and I had a separating of the ways. He was going in a different direction. He was actually getting out of the art. I didn't know that, but there was some weird stuff going on. And I don't want to talk ill will of the person. He passed away. And if it wasn't for him giving me this opportunity, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Right.
But he opened the door for me. I still had to do my own work. Just like you and your students and your teachers trained you to be the best you could be, but you had to do it. Right. It's a team effort. It's not one-sided or the other. It's both. And sometimes we could do more. And I left the school. Remy heard about it, and he called me up personally and said, "If you want to train, I'll be your teacher."
Wow.
I'm a brown belt. I'm 20 years old, and the grandmaster of the system, who's on the cover of magazine, says, "If you want to train, I'll be your teacher."
Wow.
No
wow.
brainer.
Yeah.
And one of my best friends at the time, he and I had left the school together, so we were putting a training group, and we just started going from there. And Remy, this is a hard one. So. We talk about, you always give me credit for being the guy, and I want to talk about that. It's almost by default, not because I'm special. I think I did my work, don't get me wrong, but Modern Nice is taught two ways. One is the art within your art. So how do I teach you to make your art better with Filipino martial arts concepts without compromising the integrity of your base system?
Okay.
That was like 97% of his students, maybe 98. Maybe 99. I was the one. I joked about the Modern Nice 1%ers, but I can't do that because that's the motorcycle thing. We don't want to go down that. There was a very small percentile of us that did Modern Nice as a standalone art, and that's how I was doing. That's how I started with John Bryant. So we weren't doing Taekwondo or karate or stuff. Now there's an influence because Remy did incorporate. He was a Shotokan player himself at one time and modified forms, and they've got a karate feeling of it, but still the art's the art. That's just one training methodology. So, but I was, for all intents and purposes, in general, I was the only one that really made the commitment of the art to do it as a full-time job. At the time of his passing, I was the only first generation student. Actually, I think I can say this to now. At the time of his passing up till today, I'm the only person I know of that is a full-time committed Modern East Academy. I don't know of anyone else who had a Modern East Academy while Remy was alive. And some people say, well, this guy is named, the school is Modern East Academy. He's also a grandmaster in Dillman karate. It's not full-time. I mean, it's not, which banner are you flying? He got his grandmaster in Dillman karate after doing Modern East. So it's either he did the work to become a grandmaster in Dillman karate or he bought his rank. I'm not saying, but you can't say it's all Arnis,
Right.
So this is what I do is FMA first. And I think one of the reasons why I'm better than the others, because I took the FMA training wheels off. I go to a lot of Filipino events and other Filipino martial artists go to me, are you sure you're Modernies? Yeah, why? You move too good to be them. And then I have to explain, well, no, because the whole thing is, okay, do you do any ground grappling, you yourself?
Very basic. Like, I would say no.
Well, no, but you've done some in your career.
Yeah.
Fill in some blanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not promoting the other art, but you took from another art and blended it in, right?
Right, a little self-defense, yes.
That's what how people approach Modern Arnis. I was the only one that was committed to it for all intents and purposes. I mean, there were some training groups that they committed to doing the art, but they came from Taekwondo, they came from Shotokan. But I have a 5,000 square foot facility dedicated to teaching. Modern Arnis is first and forefront on everything that we do. Even my fitness training programs, like our cardio kickboxing, I'm doing Filipino Panatukan drills. I have them do Sinwalis every now and then and do sticks with it. Everything is my kids, my 3 to 6 year olds. Everything is Modern Arnis first. And to my knowledge, it's the longest running, the oldest professional Filipino martial arts school in North America.
Wow.
So when I commit to that, I should be better than all the others.
Right.
Mario Andretti shouldn't beat me in martial arts on the weekend. And I shouldn't beat him behind the wheel of a car.
Right.
So now Remy had some amazing martial artists that were better martial artists than I was. And they came in and I passed them in Modern Arnis rank because they didn't make the commitment to Remy's art. They used Remy's art to enhance what they were doing. So, I sometimes it's almost like I won by default. I don't want to take away because I consider myself to be a good martial artist.
Very good.
And I think I can get better.
Right.
And I'm at that age. I'm 57 now, so I know that there's certain things my body's start deteriorating. I got a heel spur and all this other stuff. Put on a couple pounds, but my timing's getting better. My understanding and communicating of the art. So I'm less on the physical end. I'm still working on my precision. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I'm not going. My students are half my age. I can only keep up with them so much.
Right.
So I have to fight cheap.
Now, Tim, let's talk about and again, the humble side of you to say, hey, I got it by default. Listen, I've seen a lot of people move, and again, I might not be a Modern Arnis master, but I have been around the world myself, and you're a very humble guy, Tim. I think you definitely deserve the credit, and that was nice, humbling to see it. But Tim, you're badass at what you do. I've seen you move. I see your students. And I think the other thing that's impressive is you're not Filipino. and you're sharing, you know what I mean? And you're really pushing the art. And I think that that's amazing. So what I want to go to now is, Tim, is in most martial arts systems, Japanese, Korean, title is everything. And, everybody hears senseis and hanshis and masters and grandmasters. And, in Korean, we will be sabanims or kwajinims. You have a very unique title, and I don't know anybody else that has that title. So can you please talk to us about how did you get the Datu title? What does the Datu title mean? And how has that spurred controversy for you for being, the man? You're the man. So tell us about the title.
Okay, so Datu, there has been some more popularity, people using it, but in Modern Arnis, there was only 6 of us. Shishiro Nakalo, who was the Ninja Turtle, was the first. And I was the last. Of the 6 of us, promoting Modern Arnis in the forefront, there's really only 2 of us that are promoting that as a primary thing. So the title of Datu literally means the tribal leader. Now, there's been a lot of controversy on it. in other cultures in Southeast Asia, there's Datu or Datuk, which is like being knighted. So a lot of times people misinterpret what this is for. For Filipino culture, it means the chief of the tribe.
Mm.
But other people are saying, well, you're not Muslim, you're white, you're this, that, and the other thing. I want to point out there is a food product company, Datu Puti, which means white Datu. By the way, I'm the white Datu. So they all joke about it. Okay. There are DJs, Datu DJ this, Datu DJ that, Datu Music, Datu Elemental, Datu. There's a band. I'm my competition team, Datu's Tribe. There's like a heavy metal band called Datu's Tribe.
Nice.
We have not found. Okay, we're talking about how it's used in the Filipino culture. If it was such a sacred title, no one would be using it.
Right.
Why would? Okay, I'm not even. And I've tried to point this out before about the. It started off Datu Puti as a white vinegar. Then they have soy sauce and other brands too. Right. They would not have it as a food product if it is that damn sacred.
Right.
People who have no clue what they're talking about. And here's the thing: they give me shit about something. Let's talk about the real thing. No one had the balls to say, Remy Praces, why did you do this when he was alive? They all came at me after he died. Well, if you don't have the backbone to stand up and talk to him while he's alive, shut your hole. Now, some of them are too young to have known Remy.
Right.
And now they're bipping off now, and they're not doing the research. And here's the problem. I get things wrong once in a while. I'm the first to admit it. But I hear something. First of all, don't trust the media. Don't trust anyone. You hear something, file it, do your own research, and then see if that makes sense. Right. I like talking politics and religion to people because I don't know enough about it. So I want to talk to people about, but not get political, not get religious. Tell me about, I love talking about religion because I'm curious about other religions.
Right.
I'm curious about what someone's political stance is without getting visceral about it. I mean,
right.
Listen, we haven't had a good politician in a long time. I think we should all come to the table and agree with that.
Yeah.
As living in New York State, I cannot, in good conscience, vote for a Democrat at the moment because they shut us down during COVID.
Right.
Now, but my mind will change in the future. It's just right now, it's a scab as the martial art industry. We know we got jerked over. And in New York, it wasn't Governor Cuomo; it was Emperor Cuomo. So I'm a little bit more visceral on it.
Right.
They shut me down and offered me no support. But the thing here is, I can talk to someone who disagrees with me and not take it out on them.
Right.
So the same thing with this, we should come to the table and say, hey, listen, what do we know? Now, I asked Remy before he passed away. He actually offered it to me in 1999. I had turned it down. And then
what prompted him to offer it to you, Tim? What do you think? Where was he at his mindset, I guess, with his system to offer it to you?
I can go right. First of all, I was one of the people in the will to inherit the system. Okay. There is a will out there that was never executed. His kids inherited the estate, but his students inherited the system. So he did not will it to his kids. His kids weren't even practicing the martial arts. Been here 20 years and they didn't train with him. He wanted them to, but they didn't.
Right.
So when it comes to who's the rightful heirs, it would be Remy's students. And only 2 were from the Philippines, like actively. Shashir Nakala was on the list, and Roland Dantes, who's no longer with us, the bodybuilder and actor. Right. It was I don't want to say it this way. Well, actually, I can say it this way. There's a whole bunch of names. There's only a couple that were Filipino. The rest of them were non-Filipinos.
Right.
Because we knew the art. He was here for 26 years of development. He had no contact with his Philippines. Of course, his top students would be here in the States.
Right.
Because they didn't know about the quarter of a century evolution. So as far as me, so it started years ago when I went to him, hey, there's a problem here in Buffalo with someone being a knucklehead. I don't want you getting involved. I will handle everything. I just need you to tell me what the position is on this. And when I did that, everything started changing. So I said, hey, listen, he started bringing me in the inner circle because I handled stuff on my own. I eventually became the Can-Am director of the IMAF, International Mountain Race Federation. I also I'm looking at the comments. I got to make a comment about Ivan up there.
Yeah. Well, I want to. What we do is in the show, Tim, is I was going to wait for you to finish. If we could say a quick hello to.
Okay. I started. He had started having me teaching at the camps. I started taking over the forums. I'd run the tests at the camps that I was at. And I would bring there was a subculture in the group where one year we rolled into camp. Now Michigan Summer Camp was the premier camp. It was the camp to go to. It was the most advanced camp. So it'd have anywhere from 70 to 100 people going. A third of the people would be my students and my affiliates, like a network so he saw this subculture where we walked in and everyone wore my shirt. When you had a third of the room wearing my school t-shirt,
speaks volumes. Yeah.
And I'm supporting him, not breaking away. I was working with people like Dr. G. I was doing 20 plus seminars a year while he was alive. Matter of fact, I walked into the Houston camp the one day. He's like, Houston, Texas. He goes like, Tim, he stops everything. What are you doing here? I'm like, here to see you. But you were in Sweden. Oh yeah, it was 2 days ago. Why are you here now? Because you're here now. Yeah. I'm here to train. That's my teacher. He was promoting me. I was doing seminars. No one was doing this while he was alive.
Right.
Not that quantity promoting Remy's art.
Right.
And I made a point of giving props, referring to when it was appropriate. I didn't name drop. And I would show support. And when we would show up to a seminar, we'd roll anywhere from, some the low end would be like 4 or 6 people, all the way to 10 to 20. I've had 20 people deep show up to a seminar.
Right.
And I was like, okay, and my students were good to the point where he actually said a couple of my guys, which are not on at the moment, like a Jason Arnold and a George Harris, were there, and they both sat there and go, hey, listen, we want to spend more time with you and do some training. And he turns to them like, you don't need to. Training with Tim is like training with me.
Wow.
And I had done seminars and taught most of the other guys out there because that was my job at camp.
Right. Tim, real fast, because I want to jump into the seminars as well. Okay. We have a couple people that logged in, if you saw in the comments. Yep. If you could say a quick hello to Alvin Hernandez. He's chiming in from Trinidad and Tobago. Funny, we just talked about.
Hey, Alvin, I'm going to be in Barbados October 20. Well, the week of, it's the week of the 20th next year. The Caribbean Martial Art Festival. So hit me up, and because we're thinking about going island hopping and maybe visiting people. And then Ivan, do you have a YouTube channel? Yeah, I do. Golly stick. So Alvin, don't sweat it. And by the way, guys, and Jose knows this. I go by Tim. I go to a lot of seminars. I'll stand up when we'll do these festivals. I go, hey, my name's Tim Hartman. I'm from Buffalo, New York. I teach Filipino martial arts, and I sit back down because this is great. Listen, I really appreciate, because you need a good PR guy. You're being my PR guy at the moment. But at the end of the day, I'd rather do it on the floor. And if you don't like me, that's fine.
Right.
But I'd rather be on the floor demonstrating versus all this hype. I've had people show up to seminars with 3-page resumes that the guy had to go through. And then I said, Tim, would you like to teach? Okay, what do you have to say? Grab a stick. And then we go.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to, to what we talked about before, because absolutely from Datu to Grandmaster to this, to that, 10th, right? 10th? Is it 10th?
Okay. So, so here's the deal. In 2007, Grandmaster Ernesto Paredes promoted me to GGM Ernesto, great Grandmaster, promoted me to a 9th degree black belt and Grandmaster in Kombatan. And he said to me at the time, Tim, I cannot promote you in my brother's art, but I can promote you in mine, which tells you right there that the arts are not the same. They're similar. And I produced black belts in that art for Grandmaster Ernesto to prove that I had the chops. And we can talk all about that. Probably not today. They are compatible. They're from the same chassis, but they're different.
Right.
Just like if you look at a side-by-side washer and dryer, a lot of the parts are interchangeable, but one deals with water and the other deals with fire.
Right.
Not interchangeable.
Yeah.
But parts can go back and forth, like the doors and the knobs and all that other stuff. Yeah. So when Grandmaster Nesta died in 2011, 2012. We combined both systems together. We branded as Prasis Arnis. And I wear the 10th degree black belt in my organization. No, I wasn't promoted. I took the spot like Grandmaster Remy did back in the day. And since then, I train with some of the world train, travel, and teach with some of the world's best martial artists in the period. And no one calls me on anything. They see what I can do. Now, when modern, I'll always be a 6 through Remy because I was the high. It's actually 7. It's black, then first degree. So 7th level black belt modern, 9th degree black belt in Kombatan. Put the two together. Now, if we're really talking about, if you look at the standards, a lot of people, if you put this all together under one banner of Prasis Arnis to promote the brothers equally versus favoring one or the other over the other, I can pull that off. Because actually, if you're looking at what's out there, looking at the standards of people wearing 10th degree black belts, maybe I should be wearing a 15th.
Probably a 25th, Tim. 25th.
I was trying to be modest. I really didn't want to go there. But since you, how about
awful, Tim? Tim,
can we square it and cube it? And
yeah. Oh my God,
we're not good. We're bad people together, by the way.
Oh,
you and I are terrible. By the way, it's not alcohol. It's
Monster.
Yeah.
I got you. So let's talk about this. So I want to tell our viewers, like I said, I've known Tim for a long time, and my own martial arts career has changed over the last probably 20 years, and I myself are trying to do some different things. I'm doing a lot more seminars myself. But it's funny, and Tim will tell you, my idol is Tim Hartman. He is world renowned.
He's smoke. Don't believe him. He's lying.
Listen, I don't know if you guys saw the promo video, but he said he taught over 1,000 seminars, and that's not 1,000 seminars in Horizon Martial Arts in Buffalo, New York. He teaches not just in the U.S., but all over the world. And I say that because he's been able to generate a revenue stream, and I'm not going to put numbers and put them out there, but he's been able to generate a revenue stream to make a very good living, and that's not just from having 500 students. He's able to sustain doing multiple seminars, whether it's multiple seminars in one weekend, every other weekend. I mean, the man has more passports and patches on his backpack than anybody I know. So, I behind the scenes, everyone, I was bragging to him that I'm going to the Netherlands. Mind you, this man's already been to how many countries now, Tim? 200, 300?
No, okay, so 17 so far, but it'll be in the 20s by the end of the year. So I'm adding Brazil,
nice,
Mexico, Ireland to the list, and and then our guy down in Trinidad. Hopefully, I'll be visiting you in I'll be over there in October.
We're gonna set that up, Tim. We're gonna set that up.
Okay.
Tim, what we need to do, Tim.
Out of our event.
Listen, Tim, we might have to do, because it's funny, you said the seminars back in the day, right? Wasn't it Remy and Wally J and all these different guys, right? Well, guess what? There's no big 3 or big 4 doing that anymore. I don't know, Tim. We might have to maybe put something together. You know what I mean?
Big one. You notice how they just blocked that out there? That's my Filipino salute to people. I watch Wolverine too much. But anyways, listen, we did something back a while ago. I tried, and then COVID put a big damper on things. But we did the Legends of FMA tour, so I put Grandmaster, and just to, in retrospect, like I said, I took the top tier for my organization. I've got 35 schools international, over 35 schools. So my position on, we'll say this first, and we'll go into this. Grandmaster, if it's just you and your school, what's the need? If you haven't produced a black belt, you shouldn't be a master. Correct. If you haven't produced multiple black belts, you shouldn't be a master. If you haven't produced a cadre of masters, you shouldn't be a GM. Okay? I'm calling it on there. And in Modern East right now, there's like 20 grandmasters, and in the book, it says there should only be one. Okay? And my GM title is from Ernesto Prasis. I told people that until the community gets behind me or I'm the last person standing, I will not use the term grandmaster as it relates to modern Arnis, because there could only be one, and the community needs to get behind that person.
Right.
I could have went with the argument that you need one in Europe, one in the Philippines, and one in the States for regions. I could get behind that.
Right.
but we still have to agree on things. But there is no numerical rank that gives anyone a title in modern Arnis, including Grandmaster. There was only one Grandmaster. And in Remy's pink book, the one that we all know about, which is not here. Hold it. I can do the quick one. Here we go. I got multiple racks all over the place. So this is, they updated the cover a little. So let me just do the settings real quick on the virtual background because it gets okay. So this is the pink book. It would be a black and white photo of him.
Nice.
They just the Filipinos re-upped it. It was a much bigger book. They talk about, and I don't know where it is. They talk about at the time, the reason why I'm a Grandmaster is because I'm the founder there, or he was the leading authority with over 27 years of experience. He re-released this in the 90s, which ended up being like 50 years of experience, right? He still had no Grandmasters underneath him. Wow. Because in modern Arnis, there's only one. Now what happens is people are using Ernesto's program. Oh, hold on. Okay, Ernesto's protocol. So in Combatant, there's three moderns. Remy Pracis did modern Arnis. His two brothers were using the term modern Arnis, but really they evolved off to be their own systems. Combatant, which was Ernesto Pracis, and Henigran Arnis de Mano was Roberto Pracis. But for a while, they were all using the same name, and it got people confused.
Right.
So it became Remy, Ernesto, and Roberto Pracis, modern Arnis. But really, Ernesto's doing Combatant, and the other brother's doing, Roberto's doing Arnis de Mano. It's hard to say Henigran, their hometown. It comes out really weird.
Yeah.
So, in what Ernesto Pracis did is at 8th and 9th degree, similar to Korean martial arts, they do a Grandmaster title because 10th is GGM, Great Grandmaster. Remy did not do that. And now what people have a problem with, my pet peeve, is when you're doing Ernesto's protocol and calling it Remy's art. Furthermore, when you're doing Ernesto's material and giving Remy credit, not Ernesto credit. Right. Once again, people don't like what I'm saying, but Tim, you do the same thing. I go, no, I don't, because I teach Pracis Arnis as a blend, and I do a certificate in Pracis, and I can also do certificates in modern and Combatant. And when I teach my modern, it's modern. When I teach my Combatant, it's all Combatant. Like you could do a hybrid ranking system in your Tang Sudo and your Taekwondo if you wanted.
Correct.
But you have two separate programs.
Correct.
But when you teach your students, you might blend it all together.
Right. Right.
But you're upfront with them.
Right. Yep.
And the thing here is there should only be one Grandmaster modern, which is why I don't use that title as it relates to.
I don't know. I like Datu better, man. I don't know. Datu is a hot title, man.
Well, everyone's a friggin' modern Grandmaster. So how many modern Grandmasters did it take to hit you with a stick? I don't know. Too many. All of them probably. But I think Datu's. Listen, here we go. Everybody out there is listening, or if they've turned me off already. You are the one that makes your ranks or titles worth anything. And I think I made my Datu title worth more than any Grandmaster title out there that I could get in what I'm doing.
Right. Right.
So that's why I go, I'm Tim. At the one seminar, everyone had their title. I said Tim. And I told the guy, oh no, let's do the Mighty Wizard Tim, because it was from Monty Python. But it was it was where the clan was, and people might get the wrong. So we just said, just go Tim Hartman. Just go Tim Hartman.
Yeah. So, Tim, real fast, I put up the website for your school, horizonma.com. Can they access to get in contact with you? Like Ivan Kazemi is actually, he's I believe it's a staff sergeant or master sergeant in the military. He's one of my students, as kids have been training with me.
Let me give you another one. Just put in www.datuhartman.com.
Okay. You want that one better than this one?
Yes, because that one that you got right there is only for the school, and it's about capturing information for the school.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
I'll get the other one.
Yeah, it's a generic. I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong for it's done by Market Muscles, which does a great job. It captures information, but you wouldn't know it was me.
Gotcha.
But if you go to datuhartman.com, actually my email address is easy, datutim@gmail.com.
Okay.
So that has a bunch of my seminars on there. Actually, let me see. Here we go. The Caribbean Martial Art Festival is October 20th and 21st in 2023. So there's a lot of events I still have to put up yet. Too much stuff going on. Crazy.
Tim, you said it was datutim@gmail.com?
Yes, that would be the best way to get a hold of me.
All right, awesome.
Or on Facebook, it's Tim Hartman. Or if you look up yep, there you go. When you look up on Facebook, it's my name's Tim Hartman. Just look for the one that goes underneath it. It says Datu Tim. It actually, my personal account has me wearing my backpack with all of my with my patches on it.
Chris Davison chimed in and said the mighty wizard Datu Tim.
Yes, Chris is one of the local guys. I'm actually going to be sitting on his black belt board. You better say nice things, Chris. Hey, Chris, I went to the latest meet and greet and no one was there. Just saying. The one that Mr. Reynolds was supposed to do. The martial art group getting together. So, Chris has actually become a very good ambassador for all the schools in Buffalo. We have a tournament league we put together, and he goes to everybody's tournaments, open houses, awesome. And he follows me around. He stalks me on the internet once in a while.
Oh man. So Tim, what do you have? So the rest of this month, what do you have? What events do you have?
So I leave tomorrow. So for those who watch this later, the 14th of October, so today is the 12th, the 14th, 15th, and 16th, or whatever this weekend is, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm doing our Southeast Modern Earnings Camp. So it's in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm going to stay there for a week. I'm going to go to the Maya Elite Conference the following weekend, probably do some classes in between here and there. I come back to Buffalo, do some local stuff. And then I'm teaching the FMA Invasion, which is a group I put together, a group of different Filipino stylists. We're doing a thing in Avon, Connecticut in November. I want to say the 12th. The weekend after, I'm teaching in Delaware. And then the weekend after that is Thanksgiving. I'm actually teaching a Canadian mini camp. It's only one day, but we're going from 9 in the morning till 9 at night.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Then the first weekend of December, we do our yearly Christmas event here, where we invite all of our members to come up. It's free. We do like a couple hours training, and then we do a party at night. Christmas, New Year's, holiday, you name it, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you want to throw in there. You know what? I grew up doing Christmas. It's Christmas. Screw that. Come up and have a good time. Whatever excuse you need to come to Buffalo, that's what it is.
There it is. There it is.
Wing tasting competition, if that's what it needs to be.
They have the best pepperoni pizza there around the corner from you.
We got some good za in Buffalo. So yeah, Chris is the stalker. So that's about it for the rest of this year. Then next year, it's because of COVID, I went to a hybrid format where I was doing physical seminar here with virtual attendees.
Right.
And I use Google Meet. I don't use Zoom. Google Meet, I feel, is so much easier because no downloading anything. You just go, and I already had it. I don't like downloading extra stuff on my computer.
Right.
Like this, you just log in.
Right.
So I'll have like 6 to 8 people on the floor. I can have another 20 people attending virtually. Or what I also do with my seminars when I'm doing the hybrid ones, I record it, and then those who couldn't make it live, they get a digital copy of the event. And nice. It's actually cut into my seminar business on the road because I got people throughout Europe who are taking those classes now. So wow.
Yeah,
I can start and finish the day in my own bed. So I've kind of enjoyed not going on the road, but at the same token, I've also got fed up with this because now everybody's doing Zoom classes, and you know what? But they're doing Zoom as a solo one. So like right now, I would teach a class by myself doing stuff in the air. It might as well be katas.
Right.
Have a damn. I was gonna say, if you're gonna do a Zoom seminar, have a damn partner.
Right.
Come on, this it's nonsense. And I've had people want me to teach with them. I'm like, no. Are you gonna have a partner? No. Then you don't want to teach with me because I'm gonna blow you off the floor. Not because I'm better, because people will see what's going on. I could be a hack for all intents and purposes, or I could just use my knife and hack at you.
Yeah.
Pun intended. But the thing here is, if you see me, someone swings and I block and I grab and I hit, and you see that, oh, I got that. When I'm seeing, I do this florette here and I do that, I'm like, what the hell is all that crap?
Right.
It's like doing kata versus bunkai. Kata's great. I like kata, but I so much rather do the form application, putting my hands on someone and dropping them. And when you can put the two together, that's an amazing class.
Absolutely. Yep.
Absolutely. So we got to get back to real training because it's just too easy. You got
to change a lot. Yeah, the virtual side.
It's a double-edged sword.
Right.
You reach people that you couldn't reach before,
right.
But now too many people are relying on it. Like, no.
Yeah. So, Tim, what as far as moving forward with the Modern East, because you also are the president of your organization. So, talk to us a little bit about your organization and how that's been able to help other Filipino martial arts or martial artists, because obviously you've gathered some people that used to be part of other associations, right? And then you have your own.
So I have the World Modern East Alliance, which I do have some people from the Combatant side who've joined as well, and it's helped promote the brand and get the network out there. So I've been a big advocate of Filipino martial arts as a whole, as a community, because I left my instructor, and then Remy dealt with me. He dealt with me. Remy would give me assignments I'd work on my own. So I never had anyone to tell me what to and not to. And that actually probably got me into some trouble because I didn't understand certain martial art protocols. But the other thing, too, is it helped me get what I want. Because I could walk up. I would walk up to people and just start talking to them. And all these guys are like, Tim, how do you do that? I go, well, who do you want to? Like, my friend Mark was at my school one day. I was like, how do you do this? I go, I don't know. Who do you want to talk to? Oh, let's talk to Stephen Arsenal. Okay. Hey, Steve, how you doing? I just call somebody up. I mean, I knew him. I didn't know him. We met at an event. Hey, listen, it was great meeting you. We should do something in the future together. Blah, 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 done.
Right.
I'm like, I've had so many people through my school. But I mean, I just never been afraid to talk to people. And I think that in some cases it's kind of, it's a double-edged sword once again. Because some people get upset that I get things that other people don't. Well, it's like you got to get off your ass and do it,
Right.
So, in 2000, a friend of mine had created a weapon, a martial art website called Martial Talk to promote martial arts. It didn't do well, so I told him, "You build it, I will populate it." So he built it. And every time I did a seminar, it grew and grew and grew, became one of the largest martial art discussion groups in the world. Wow. From there, it spun off FMA Talk, Filipino Martial Art Talk, Kempo Talk. We were all part of that. We built that together. And it gave martial artists around the world a platform to discuss. This is before Facebook.
Right.
And I was always trying to bring more and more people martial art wise to this. So I've always been an ambassador for what we do because we're stronger together.
And we are apart. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, everyone says, oh, how do you deal with your competitors? Well, I really don't like talking about hockey. I don't like talking about soccer. Well, no. The Taekwondo guy down the road. Are you kidding? He's the best thing I do. Why? Because he does something at the school and he outprices himself, and then everyone comes rolling in here afterwards after they go through sticker shock. Or the people I don't want, I send him. It's like it's good to have another location nearby.
Yeah.
The other thing too is it's like a food court. The more you see, the higher of the awareness.
Right.
If you have a lot of schools, yeah, there's a little competition that way. But if you see 5 schools in your town, it becomes less of if you're going to go. It's going to be more about where you're going to go.
Right.
But when there's only one school in town, martial arts as a whole doesn't have a visibility.
Right.
So, a restaurant can get lost on the street, but in a food court, there are all these different places.
Correct.
And everyone can grab from different things and meet together. So I've always been a big advocate of that. So we started doing that. And then when I started doing workshops, I would bring in different people because Modern East, Remy, remember, it predates Jeet Kune Do. Okay. So Bruce did the same thing Remy did. I'm going to say that. He absorbed from a whole bunch of things, So what I did was like, all right, well, after I got my black belt, I want to see, not having Remy around all the time, I wanted to see all these other systems, and I brought people in to pick their brains and try to figure out where things came from and get, Remy opened the door for me to do Balint Walk with Manang Ted Buat, who used to teach for Anshan McCon, its founder, and it helped my level of awareness. And I've always been upfront about bringing the community together because we're stronger together.
Right.
And I think that's helped a lot. And so I have like 2 tiers. I have the World Modern East Alliance, which promotes what I do with the Praces family. And then there's the I haven't been doing much lately. The ICFMA, the International Congress of Filipino Martial Artists, which I was promoting, and there's a whole bunch of us trying to team together. Right now, after COVID, I'm going to be very selfish. We've lost too many people in all the respective arts. I got to worry about my family before I worry about yours. So, I got to take care of my own. Like, if your house is on fire, you're not going to go to your neighbors and help them if your house is still on fire. Right. Once I get it under control, then I'm going to help my neighbors.
Right. So
that's the kind of and so my focus has definitely changed. But I am not afraid. We do multi-Filipino martial art events because it gives us all a better level of awareness. It's all good for all of us. So I am trying to promote that as well. I'm trying to bring some people who are on their own underneath my umbrella, not from a martial technique, but more of a martial business umbrella to help them. Because a lot of these guys, Filipino martial arts are about 20, 30 years behind everybody else. Everyone hates Taekwondo. What they don't like to admit is that we hate them not because it's Taekwondo, because they have better business models than us. We're just jealous. That's what it really boils down to. But the martial art industry as a whole has gotten over that for the most part.
Right.
What's
what's the best Filipino dish?
I like I like adobo. Any of the adobos are good. Chicken, beef, pork, Taekwondo. There we go, Chris. Yeah. So like I said, we're trying to do a bunch of different things, but right now, because of COVID and recovering, I'm focusing more on my people. We've lost 30% of all martial arts schools closed permanently.
Yeah, absolutely.
And most people who teach Filipino martial arts teach out of somebody else's facility. So how many of those schools went under?
Right.
Or clubs. There weren't schools, there were clubs. That's people don't. Yeah, it's been a very touchy speaking. People teaching out of your garage can make money teaching martial arts, but that is not a martial arts school. And that's been a big. People don't like when I say that, but a school is a dedicated facility that can pay your bills.
Right. No, I know, Tim. We've talked about that before, and guys have one student, but they're like 12 degrees. I already know.
Once again, how many masters have you produced? 0. Then there's no reason for you to get promoted.
Right. Oh man. Well, Tim, it's funny before we talked about it, I knew that this, you and I could talk. We could probably do a 3-4 hour show and still not be able to hit everything. But I know your time is valuable as well. So just for all the viewers that are still with us, obviously, if you want to get in contact or learn more about Datu Hartman, he has his website, which is www.datuhartman.com. You also have his direct email that he gave all of us, which is datutim@gmail.com. I know there's going to be guys that are going to watch it after. They're going to want to get in contact with you, find out how they can become a member or train with you as well. So, for everybody watching, again, this is the best way to kind of get a hold of him. Remember, he's going to be leaving. So he'll be away for a little bit of time. So that you don't get discouraged if he doesn't respond. But Tim, you're great on responding though. You don't normally let anything hang.
I'm a phone call guy. So if you email me, there's a chance that'll slip through the cracks. If you Facebook me or now listen, if anyone, you got to remember, if you're using social media to reach out to somebody, you got to understand that sometimes social media filters your messages and puts you in a box, in a mailbox that we might not see right away.
Right. Yep.
So I every now and then on Instagram, like, oh geez, there's been a message waiting for me for 3 weeks. I didn't see it. Same thing on Facebook. But if you call me, if you email, I'm fairly okay with. I'm more of a phone call guy. So once you have my personal contact information, or once you've been vetted through the system, and Facebook allows you to use Facebook Messenger, that's so much better because I'm pretty good response there. Emails, I'm dyslexic, so I don't really like. I mean, anything I do voice to text makes my life easier. Although sometimes it makes me sound like a drunken sailor. Like, I didn't say that. What the hell's that all about?
Yeah. Oh my God. Tim, any final words as far as if anybody's looking to get into Filipino martial arts? Obviously, you're the man, so they should go to you. But as a generic advice, any advice you would give if someone's looking to either add it to their, current curriculum, or if they're looking to pursue anything, any advice you could give them?
So, vet your okay. I would always say, just reach out to me. I can tell you where some. I have a lot of people reaching out. Do you have a school in this area? No. Do you know anything about this guy? A little. Blah blah blah. Do you know anything about the system? You know, Filipino martial arts are. It's hard because some of the stuff is just made up.
Right.
You know, and it is not multi-generational. Not to mention, a lot of people, once they take over, they change the name. I mean, people say, well, you're doing the same thing. You said prices aren't easy. I go, because I'm teaching both brothers, I'm teaching the brother system together. Like Ed Parker's Kempo Karate was called Kempo Karate. His students named it Ed Parker or Kempo or Parker's Kempo for this. So do your research. Figure out what you're going for. Most people who teach Filipino martial arts do not have well-developed open hand combatives that are Filipino. They may have gotten that elsewhere. So figure out what you're looking for. If you're looking for weapons to augment, like, unfortunate, our system has a little of everything. We're not the best at everything, but I can stand up, I can go to the ground, I can stick, I can knife, I can staff, I can do all that stuff. There's obviously fields that, I can kick, but my students are better kickers than I am because I self-taught myself how to kick, and people around me taught me how to be better. Well, unfortunately, I've got bad habits, but I fix them with my students. But know what you're looking for. Some systems are heavy blade, other systems are heavy stick. Are you doing it for enhancement? Are you looking for practical martial arts? Or are you looking for historical martial arts? A lot of times people teach Filipino martial arts like kendo, fencing, or iaido, which the material is not relevant to the modern day world. Right. What are you looking for? Are you looking for martial art, martial sport, martial combat? If you're looking for combat, are you looking for modern day combat that makes sense? Or are you looking for historical stuff? Because at the end of the day, I never saw rattan stick until I did Filipino martial arts. And what do people practice with all the time? Rattan sticks. But what's in my stick bag right now that's being packed for the plane, I've got an axe handle that I use. Right. I've got baseball bats in my school because I'm thinking about street defense. I don't teach this as a sport, although we do sport.
Right.
In case we do run out of time, I want to say one thing. One of my biggest accomplishments just happened the other day. Ryan Monolopoulos was on She-Hulk with speaking lines.
That's awesome. I wasn't going to tap into that because this was your show, but go ahead. You pulled it up. So go ahead, talk about him. And you should be a very proud,
I'm a proud papa. So Ryan is my he's not adopted, but, as a martial artist, all your students are your kids, one way or another. Ryan Monolopoulos came to me at 4 years old. He's in his 30s now. He's down in Atlanta, tearing it up. He's been in a lot of big things. He just recently was the stunt double for William Dafoe on the last Spider-Man movie as the Green Goblin. He's been on MacGyver. He's been on all these different shows. Episode 8 of She-Hulk. He's the one walking down. He's calling us tadpoles or something like that. That's Ryan. He's currently filming he may have just got done. Roadhouse in the Dominican Republic. Yes, the Patrick Swayze movie. Nice. This kid has got world titles, actually, through your organization, along with others. Yep. And here's one of this, and I have a whole bunch of success stories, but he's the big name at the moment. We came in using Filipino martial arts as a standalone program. We went to your event, which is a multidiscipline martial art. And when we were hot and heavy back in the day, when we were going all the time, we were coming up in the top 3 and everything.
Everything, yeah.
Okay. And we didn't know. Ryan was a guy that could get a gold and everything, but sometimes he didn't. Sometimes the best fight was round 1, and but we did it with Filipino martial arts. Now we did incorporate some Shotokan forms, when it came to doing the kata divisions, but at the end of the day, he did it on his modern Ernie's training. Right. And now he's doing movies. He created a program called OCC, On Camera Combatives, which he and I was working on something, and then it was better that he did it because then it didn't become one more product of Tim Hartman. Right. And he's been on Walking Dead. I mean, his IMDb, Ryan Monolopoulos.
He's doing good. But funny story, Tim. He did. He was the stunt double for the Resident, and that's one of my wife's favorite shows. He was the stunt for the main lead character. Right. He had posted that.
No, he's got a lot of pictures of the two of them together. They look kind of like each other.
Yeah. Tim, you should be very proud, man. Obviously, as instructors, right? All of the students are our kids, but you know what? Absolutely, you should be very proud of him, of yourself, your school, the virtues, everything that you've done, because those things have obviously helped in some form or fashion, right? I mean, obviously, he's on his own path now. Kudos to him, but you know what I mean. He was with you as a young man, and
he did it on his own.
Yeah.
I gave him the direction.
Correct.
I gave him the instruction. And actually, he recently reached out. He still every now and then he goes, I'm in a situation. What should I do?
Right.
I need to hear. I want your opinion on it.
Awesome.
And he's like, well, listen, he was supposed to stand up at a wedding or be in Roadhouse. I go, did the guy know about this? Yeah. I go, do you think your friend would have you sacrifice your career just so you're being his best man? He goes, no, he wouldn't do that to me. He understands. I go, then why aren't you having this conversation with him?
Right.
And it's so touching to me that, he reaches out to me because we're kind of in a similar thing, because I've told you I'll be at your event unless a seminar comes up.
Yep.
I can go spend money at your event and have parents yell at me because this, that, and the other thing because of judging, or I can go to a seminar, have a good time, and get paid.
Right.
I mean, I've had enough people yelling at me. That's why it's white.
I got you.
So, and it's not about ignoring these people, but I mean, obviously we all have a different path. And the nice thing is that, it's still nice that he reaches out to me, and we have some projects we're going to work together. Well, you might see me in front of a camera sooner or later.
Hey, brother. I hope so. I did reach out to Ryan a couple weeks ago. I want to try to get him on the show as well, just to kind of talk. So it was great actually having you first, before he comes in. And that's great that you brought him up. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Tim, I can always just tell me when, and I can just go, hey, Ryan, and then pop off real quick.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, no, of course. I'll give you the link. Absolutely. Tim, I want to thank you so much. I know we went over the hour mark. Like I said, I know we could talk for 5 hours, but I really appreciate you coming out today. To all my viewers, thank you so much. Hopefully you guys walk away with a little bit of information, as well as, his website. You can contact Datu Tim. He's a very approachable man. Tim, before you go, I'd like you to do a sign off, if you don't mind. If you could do, hey, this is Tim Hartman, and you're watching the Martial Arts Experience.
Oh, I think I can do that. Here we go. Well, here it is. I am Tim Hartman from the World Modern Release Alliance saying thank you for being on the Martial Art Experience, and we'll see you all soon.
Awesome. That was awesome, brother. Thank you so much. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. God bless, and we'll be posting our next show. Tim, thank you for joining, and we hope you have a good, safe trip, okay? Best of luck.
I'm looking forward to it, and see you soon.
All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.